Pick up the coffee on your desk. Feel how motionless it is. Now consider this. That cup is moving at 67,000 miles per hour. So are you. So is every object in the room. You're all hurtling around a ball of burning gas at the speed of a rifle bullet, and not a single ripple crosses the surface of your coffee. Why don't you feel it? Last video, we saw that nothingness itself is forbidden. The vacuum can't hold still, not even for an instant. Tonight, it gets worse. You can't hold still either. No one can. Not Galileo, not Einstein, not Feynman, not the atoms in your chair, not the electrons in your fingertips, not the light hitting your screen. In the next 35 minutes, you'll learn why your body isn't a speedometer, it's an accelerometer. Why you've never physically touched anyone you love. Why space-time bends at the angle of your speed. And 3 specific mindsets you can carry home tonight that will change how you sit in a room with another human being. Feynman taught this in 1964. Most schools still won't say it in one honest sentence. We will. Before we take your reality apart, you should meet the man who handed us the blueprint 62 years ago in a lecture hall that's still standing. In 1964, Richard Feynman stood in front of his Caltech undergraduates and said something most physics teachers still won't say out loud. He said, in effect, your intuition about motion is worthless. Your body doesn't feel speed. Your body only feels change. And the earth is so smooth, so beautifully coasted, so perfectly steady in its orbit around the sun, that your body has been lying to you peacefully, calmly, mercifully every single day of your life. You don't feel 67,000 miles per hour. And you never will. Not because the universe is hiding something from you, because the universe is specifically, lawfully, symmetrically built so that steady motion cannot be felt. Nature is absurd. Common sense is wrong. Let's figure out why. That's Feynman, 1964, the most honest physics teacher of the 20th century, telling a room full of undergraduates that their own bodies cannot detect reality. Quick reminder of who Feynman actually was. He wasn't a tweed jacket academic. He cracked safes at Los Alamos for fun, played bongos in jazz clubs in Pasadena. And on live television in 1986, he explained the Challenger disaster by dropping an O-ring into a glass of ice water. 10 seconds, one prop, a nation watching. A mischief maker with the mind of a giant. And when he said your body lies to you about motion, he meant it with the same grin he wore when he cracked those safes. Tonight, we take the invitation. To understand why your body lies to you, we have to rewind 400 years. For 2,000 years before Galileo, Aristotle's rule ran the world. Rest is natural. Motion needs a pusher. Stop pushing, the thing stops. Every intuition you have about moving objects comes from that rule. And it's wrong. Common sense has been betraying physics since the Greeks. 1632, Arcetri, just outside Florence. A 68-year-old man sits at a desk in a locked house. His name is Galileo Galilei. The Roman Inquisition has forbidden him to teach, to publish, or to discuss the motion of the earth. So he does all 3 in secret. He writes a book, Dialogue Concerning the 2 Chief World Systems. And inside that book, hidden in a passage about a ship, he states the principle of relativity for the first time in human history. Picture the scene, he writes. The belly of a ship, butterflies flying lazily through the air, a glass bowl with goldfish swimming, drops of water falling one by one into a bucket on the floor. Ship docked at port, everything behaves normally. Now the ship gets pulled out to sea, cruising smoothly at 20 miles per hour. Butterflies fly the same. Fish swim the same. Water drops straight down into the bucket. Identical, indistinguishable. Galileo's conclusion, 11 words that changed physics forever. You cannot do a single experiment to prove you are moving. The book is smuggled out of Italy, printed in Holland, banned by Rome for 200 years. Galileo dies under house arrest in 1642. The Vatican doesn't apologize until 1992, 360 years late. But the paragraph with the butterflies is out. It's the seed of every idea in this video. Newton builds his law of inertia on it. Einstein builds special relativity on it. Feynman builds his 1964 lecture on it, and tonight, so do we. 55 years later, a man at Trinity College took Galileo's whisper and turned it into law. 1687, Cambridge, England. Isaac Newton publishes Philosophia Naturalis Principia Mathematica. 3 volumes, 700 pages of Latin, the most important physics book ever printed. And on page 1 of the laws, there it is. Every body continues in its state of rest or of uniform motion in a straight line unless acted on by a force. Read it again. Rest and uniform motion, the same thing. Indistinguishable, just like Galileo's ship. Aristotle was wrong for 2,000 years. Newton fixes him in a single sentence. Your chair isn't still because nothing is pushing it. Your chair is still because forces cancel. Gravity pulls it down, the floor pushes it up, and the two agree to disagree forever. Same for you. Same for the coffee. Same for the entire planet coasting at 67,000 miles per hour around the sun. But here's the crack in the marble, the line most teachers skip. Newton knew. He couldn't explain why. Why does inertia exist? Why is motion symmetric? He wrote in the general scholium of the Principia 4 Latin words that made the 20th century possible. Hypotheses non fingo. I do not feign hypotheses. Translation, I don't know why. I only know it works. 338 years later, we still don't know why. Keep that in your pocket. We're going to need it. Let's stop for 1 second. Because if you've made it this far, something in your head just shifted. And I want to name it before we go further. You came here thinking the ground was solid, that the chair was still, that your body knew what moving meant. You were wrong. We all were. For 2,000 years. And in the next 27 minutes, 4 more things you believe right now are going to come apart in your hands. If that sounds like your kind of evening, hit subscribe. Not for me. For the version of you watching this at 2 in the morning 3 weeks from now, trying to remember where this video lives. Okay, back in. Pick up your coffee again. Really pick it up. Feel the weight. Watch the surface. That cup is moving at 67,000 miles per hour around a star. You are moving at 67,000 miles per hour around a star. The whole room is. The whole building. The whole continent. And the surface of your coffee is flat. Flat. Not a single ripple. Not a tremor. Not one photon of evidence on the surface of that liquid that anything is happening. Why? Because your body is not a speedometer. Your body is an accelerometer. And once you understand what that one sentence actually means, the room you are sitting in will never look the same again. A speedometer measures how fast you're going. An accelerometer only measures when your speed changes. And every human body, yours, mine, the astronauts in orbit, the babies in a stroller, is built from the second kind, not the first. Here's what that actually means. Tucked inside each of your ears, about the size of a pea, is the organ we call the inner ear. 3 tiny fluid-filled loops and 2 calcium stone sensors sitting right next to your eardrum. That organ is the only motion detector your body has ever had. And it physically cannot detect constant speed. It only fires when speed changes. Stand in an elevator with your eyes closed. The door's shut. The car starts rising. You feel it, a pressure in your gut, a weight in your feet. Now the elevator hits cruise. 30 floors a minute, steady. And you feel nothing. Same speed, same direction. Your brain thinks you've stopped. Then the car brakes at the top and your stomach lifts. There it is again. Start, change, stop. That's all your body has ever been able to read. Now, multiply that elevator by Earth itself. You're coasting around the sun at 67,000 miles per hour. But the acceleration, the actual change in your speed, is tiny, about 0.006 meters per second squared. That's less than 1,000th of what you feel when you press the gas pedal in a parked car. Your inner ear has a floor, a minimum threshold, and Earth's orbital acceleration sits 600 times below it. You are not still. You are just too smooth to notice. And here's the proof your phone has been carrying in its pocket. The GPS satellites circling above you right now run atomic clocks. Those clocks have to be corrected by exactly 38 microseconds every single day because they are moving and accelerating differently from you, and Einstein's equations predict the drift to 11 decimal places. If engineers don't apply that 38 microsecond fix, Your Uber sends the driver to the wrong street before the song on the radio ends. Your body can't feel the 67,000 miles per hour. The atomic clocks can. That's the gap between what you are and what you know. Okay, keep your hand on that coffee cup, because the cup isn't just failing to notice 67,000 miles per hour. It's also failing to notice something closer, stranger, and completely under your fingertips. You are not, in any atomic sense, touching it. I know how that sounds. Let me earn it. Look at your fingertip. Zoom in. 1 millimeter. 1 micrometer, that's 1,000 times smaller. 1 nanometer, 1,000 times smaller again. Keep going. 1 angstrom. 10 billionths of a meter. Now you've arrived. What you see is not a surface. There is no surface. There's a cloud of electrons orbiting a nucleus in a volume that is, and this is the part that should unsettle you more, than 9999999999999999999999999999999999999999999999999999999999999999999999999999. If you scaled one atom up to the size of a cathedral, the nucleus would be a grain of rice sitting in the middle of the nave. Everything else, the ceiling, the walls, the pews, the stained glass, is nothing. Your fingertip is a cathedral. The coffee cup is a cathedral. And between them, when you touch, there are 2 empty cathedrals and a force you have never once in your life seen with your own eyes. The force is called electromagnetism. And in exactly 3 minutes, I'm going to show you why that force, not solidity, not contact, not pressure, is the reason your hand has never made atomic contact with anything. Not this cup, not your child, not the person sleeping beside you tonight, and that is not the darkest thing about it. Imagine slicing a loaf of bread. Each slice is a moment of your life. 1 instant, frozen, stacked next to the last. What looks like you moving through time is actually the whole loaf, every slice, sitting all at once. And the knife that seems to be cutting through, that's called now. It isn't doing what you think. 12:15, 13:15, AI transparency beats 60 sets. A quick note before we go further. Some of what I'm about to show you took weeks to condense from thousands of pages of physics. I use AI as a research partner to speed that work, not to replace thinking, but to check my math, cross-reference sources, and stress test analogies until they break or hold. Every citation in the pinned comment is traceable. Every number has a paper. You deserve to know how the loaf got sliced. If you have never touched anything, it raises a harder question. What has been doing the touching for you? And why is it so astonishingly good at lying? The answer is a force, one of only 4 forces that run the universe. It's called electromagnetism. And between every 2 atoms that ever come close to each other, it does the same thing. It pushes back. Every atom is wrapped in a cloud of electrons. Electrons are negatively charged. Negatives repel negatives. So when your fingertip gets close to the coffee cup, the electrons in your skin meet the electrons in the ceramic and they refuse. They shove at about 1 angstrom apart, 10 billionths of a meter. The push becomes so strong that going any closer would take more energy than any ordinary force on Earth can supply. That's what solid means, not contact. 2 clouds held apart by a shove you cannot see. And there's a second rule, deeper than repulsion, that physicists call the Pauli exclusion principle. It says, and I promise I am not exaggerating, that no 2 electrons anywhere in the universe can ever occupy the same quantum state at the same time, ever. It is written into the operating system of reality. That rule, plus electromagnetism, is the entire reason you do not fall through your chair right now. It is why the floor holds. It is why the coffee cup keeps its shape. It is why your hand, laid on someone else's hand, feels warm and heavy and real, even though, at the scale that matters, there are 2 empty cathedrals and a lawful, symmetric 10 to the 40th time stronger than gravity shove, holding them exactly 0.00000000001 meters apart. You have never touched your child. You have felt the cocoon that protects them, pressing back against the cocoon that is you. That cocoon is made of law, and somehow that is closer than contact ever could have been. So Galileo found the principle. Newton wrote the law. Feynman taught us to feel it. But the man who finished the sentence, who told us exactly what happens to space and time when you move, was a 26-year-old patent clerk in Bern, Switzerland. He had no lab, no telescope, no funding, just a pencil and a question nobody had asked properly in 200 years. 1905. Bern, Switzerland. A 26-year-old patent clerk, third class, working 6 days a week reviewing designs for electric typewriters and pneumatic brakes. His name is Albert Einstein. He has no academic post, no funding, no laboratory. He has been rejected by every university he applied to. He is, by every visible metric, a failure. And in that 1 year, 1905, between patent applications, he writes 4 papers. Physicists now call it the annus mirabilis, the miracle year. One of those papers is 30 pages long, titled On the Electrodynamics of Moving Bodies. And it does something no paper had done in 200 years. It takes Galileo's whisper, "You cannot tell if you are moving," and it extracts a consequence so strange that even Einstein spent the next 10 years refusing to fully believe it. The consequence is this: if no experiment can tell you you are moving, then space and time themselves must bend to protect that rule. Distance is not fixed. Duration is not fixed. A second on your wrist and a second on a spaceship passing you at half the speed of light are measurably, mathematically, provably different seconds. Not philosophically, not poetically, measurably. Your motion is not painted on top of space and time. Your motion is stitched into them. And in the next 2 minutes, I'm going to show you the single experiment, one that has been run millions of times every day in laboratories, in airports, in the satellite over your head right now, that proves Einstein was right. That experiment is called Hoffele-Keating. It was run in 1971. It involved 4 atomic clocks, 2 commercial flights, and 1 borrowed seat on a Pan Am jet. Joseph Hoffele, a physicist at Washington University, had a question nobody with a government grant would touch. If Einstein is right, and time bends with speed, then a clock on an airplane should disagree with a clock on the ground, not philosophically, measurably, in nanoseconds. He borrowed 4 cesium beam atomic clocks, price tag about $17,000 each, over $100,000 in today's money. He bought them plane tickets, economy class. The clocks got their own seats because they were too fragile to check. 2 flights, 1 eastward around the world, 1 westward, 15,000 miles each. Takeoffs, landings, turbulence, jet lag, for the physicists, not the clocks. When the flights landed, they compared the airborne clocks to the master clock at the U.S. Naval Observatory, which had stayed home. The eastward clocks had lost 59 nanoseconds. The westward clocks had gained 273 nanoseconds. Einstein's equations, written 66 years earlier in a patent office, had predicted both numbers with opposite signs inside the experimental margin. Time had bent, for real. On a commercial airline, and here's the part that should lift the hair on your arms. Every GPS satellite in orbit right now runs the same cesium clock Hoffele put on that plane. Every one of them is losing 7 microseconds a day to its speed and gaining 45 microseconds a day to weaker gravity at altitude. Net drift to 38 microseconds I told you about at minute 9. If engineers don't correct for Einstein, your Uber sends the driver to the wrong street before the song on the radio ends. You are not watching physics from the outside. You are carrying it in your pocket. You paid for it. You use it every time you turn left. Okay. Take a breath, because we've spent 17 minutes outside you, on planets, in airplanes, above satellites, Now we come back to the one object in this entire video you still think you understand. Your own body. Hold out your hand. Look at the skin on the back of it. That skin looks like a wall, an edge. The place where you stop and the air starts. It isn't. You are made of roughly 7 times 10 to the 27th atoms. That's a 7 followed by 27 zeros. More atoms in your body than there are stars in every galaxy we've ever counted. And every single one of them is being swapped out quietly, constantly, without your permission. Every breath you take pulls in oxygen atoms that were, until recently, inside a tree somewhere on Earth. Those atoms bind to your hemoglobin, ride your bloodstream for about 4 months, and leave as carbon dioxide to become, maybe, a blade of grass your neighbor's dog walks past. The water in your cells cycles out every 2 weeks, your skeleton every 10 years, the lining of your stomach every 5 days. The you that woke up this morning is not, atomically, the you who will wake up next month. And in the next 90 seconds, I'm going to show you exactly what physics says you actually are. Because it isn't a thing, it's a pattern. Every atom in you was once something else and will be again. So if you are not a fixed set of atoms, if the atoms are just passing through, what is the thing that stays? What is the you that remembers your name, your childhood, the face of the person you love? Physics has an answer. And it's the strangest answer in this entire video. You are not a thing. You are a pattern, a standing wave of matter and energy and information, holding its shape while the atoms flow through it like water through a fountain. The fountain looks solid. The water is always new. You are the fountain. And once you understand that, really understand it, 3 things change. Not tomorrow, tonight. Before you close this tab, let me give them to you, one by one. Reframe 1. Your mind is an accelerometer too. Your inner ear only feels change. We proved that in minute 9. But here's what nobody told you. Your mind works the same way. Long-term happiness becomes invisible. The partner of 10 years, sitting across from you at dinner. The healthy body that carried you up the stairs this morning without complaint. The stable job. The quiet Tuesday. You feel nothing. That is not a defect in you. That is physics. Your mind, like your inner ear, calibrated to steady state. It reads the spikes. It flatlines on the cruise. The solution is not to want more speed. The solution is to deliberately, surgically introduce change. Not a new car, not a new city. Change your angle on what you already have. Tomorrow morning, before you check your phone, pick one steady thing in your life. Your coffee, the face of your kid still asleep, the sound of the shower, and let yourself be surprised by it the way you would be surprised if you were feeling it for the first time. That's gratitude, not a practice, a rereading. Reframe 2. Silence with someone you love is 67,000 miles per hour. You know the feeling. You are sitting with someone, your partner, a parent, an old friend, and neither of you is saying anything. The television is off, the phones are down, the air is still. You have been taught to read that as disconnection, as something to fix, as a sign that you should say something, or they should, or the silence means the love is leaking out. It isn't. What you are experiencing is accelerometer synchronization. 2 bodies moving at the same velocity through life, registering no change because you are moving together. Your inner ears are both flatlined on the same cruise. Long friendship is the art of 2 ships cruising at the same speed. Deep partnership is 2 coins balanced on the same dashboard. The silence between you is not the absence of something. The silence is the 67,000 miles per hour you cannot feel. Treasure the silence. Not because silence is spiritual, because silence is proof that you are synchronized with a human being so precisely that the universe has agreed to become invisible between you. That is a rarer thing than noise. Reframe 3. Invisibility means you belong. I'll close on this one because it's the one I can't shake. The whole reason you cannot feel 67,000 miles per hour, the whole reason the coffee sits flat, the room feels still, the chair feels solid, the body feels whole is that you are perfectly, atomically, gravitationally, symmetrically in tune with the motion of the universe. Your stillness is not a lie. Your stillness is a membership card. You are not an outsider looking in at the stars. You are made of the same atoms, moving at the same speed, slicing space-time at the same angle. The universe does not hide from you. The universe is so well matched to you that it becomes invisible the way your own heartbeat becomes invisible when you're listening to music. Invisibility in physics means you belong. So the next time you feel small, ghost-like, disconnected, like you're watching life from behind glass, remember. The reason the glass feels invisible is that the glass is you. The motion is you. The stillness is you. The 67,000 miles per hour is you. You are not separate from any of it. You never were. You are a pattern the universe is making right now in the shape of a person watching itself happen. And that is the whole physics of why you are here. One man 62 years ago said all of this better than anyone has since. He's the man who opened this video, and he's going to close it. Feynman opened his 1964 Caltech lecture by saying, "Your body cannot detect speed." He closed a later lecture with a sentence that belongs on every classroom wall. I'll give it to you in plain English, paraphrased faithfully from Volume 1 of the lectures. He said, in effect, we are not outside observers looking at the universe. Our bodies, our brains, our very senses are constructed from the exact same rules that govern the stars. We cannot feel 67,000 miles per hour because we are perfectly in tune with it. Steady motion and perfect stillness are exactly the same thing. One paragraph. 62 years ago, still waiting for most of the world to hear it. You heard it tonight. Last video, we said nothingness is forbidden. The vacuum cannot hold still. Virtual particles pop in and out. The universe is mathematically allergic to true rest. Tonight we saw the same rule book runs at your scale. Stillness is forbidden. Your body cannot stop moving. The same symmetry that forbade the primordial pencil from staying balanced at the Big Bang is what makes your accelerometer biology register 0. Video 16, nothing is ever still. Video 17, you are never still. Video 18 next week, the question that broke Feynman himself. If no two observers agree on when now is, then what is time? An arrow? A river? A loop? An illusion? Feynman said at the end of his life that this was the one concept he never fully understood. Next week, we go as far as the math will let us. If you made it this far, you're one of us now. The people who no longer believe in stillness. One ask. Don't share this on your feed. Send it to one person. The one person in your life who still thinks sitting still is a real thing. The friend who hates physics. The parent who thinks they're too tired to learn something new. The kid who just started paying attention to the world. Let them see the 67,000 miles per hour. And the next time someone tells you to just sit still for a minute, smile. You're moving. You always have been. You always will be. And that is the whole point.